Welcome to Zealous Women Podcast. I'm your host, Madeline Dawn, and this is episode 2, The Woman Called Moses. First of all, happy 4th of July, everyone. I hope that everyone had or has a wonderful day celebrating America's birthday. I know we're going to grill up some burgers and shoot some fireworks later, so that should be fun. Let me start off by saying that I originally had a completely different podcast planned for today, but when I noticed the date, I felt a real urgency to go ahead and talk about Harriet Tubman. So we're going to do a short little episode today, so let's go ahead and jump in. Arminta Ross, born a slave in 1820 in Dorchester, Maryland. You probably know her as a freedom fighter who went by the name of Harriet Tubman. So how did Harriet Tubman come to be who we know her as today? In 1849, she escaped her life of slavery. Originally, she started her journey with her two brothers, but her two brothers turned back, returning to their life of slavery. The fear of the unknown gift of freedom probably pulling them back to the life they had always known. But Harriet, she was brave. She had a vision for her future and for the future of America. And she was zealous. This act of obedience is just the beginning of her story. It's the birth of her ministry. Galatians 5:13 says, "For you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters. But don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love." Harriet Tubman, the absolute embodiment of this verse, taking risk and going against the cultural stronghold of slavery and devaluement of life that America is still under today. But boy, that's a talk for another day. We're going to get back on subject. What makes her zealous is that she listened and she obeyed the call on her life, and through her over 300 slaves were brought to freedom. She did so many other things, but the things she did are just a reflection of her character, her integrity, her bravery, and the God who created her, and the freedom that she had in her identity in Him. The freedom that was given to her by the zealous obedience that she had. Isn't her freedom the kind we should all be chasing zealously after? A freedom in Christ so strong that it compels us to go back to the places that have broken us, and not only find freedom for ourselves, but freedom for others. I'll leave you with this to ponder on until the next episode. Are you that free? And what are the places that you need to find freedom? So this has been our short holiday episode. Thank you so much for listening. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/zealouswomenpodcast. There you can find out what's coming up and other special things, as well as links to our social media. Well, I'm your host, Madeline Dawn, and this was episode 2, The Woman Called Moses.